Homeless woman returned Mafia boss's kidnapped daughter. He opened his wallet. Name your price. Her answer shocked him. She lost everything. Then a Mafia boss offered her a new life. Will she accept the blood money? Before we dive in, subscribe to our channel for more stories like this. Thank you. The pipe connected with the man's knee before Sarah Chen even realized she'd swung it. The kidnapper crumpled with a howl that echoed through the alley, his gun clattering across wet pavement. Behind her, pressed against the dumpster, 8-year-old Lucia Marchetti whimpered in terror. "Run!" Sarah grabbed the girl's hand, yanking her forward as the second kidnapper rounded the corner. They sprinted through the maze of downtown alleys, Sarah's worn sneakers splashing through puddles that reflected the gray morning sky. Her lungs burned. 18 months on the streets had weakened her, but adrenaline pushed her forward. The little girl's breathing came in ragged gasps beside her. I can't run anymore," Lucia sobbed. Sarah pulled her into a narrow gap between two buildings, pressing them both flat against the brick. The kidnapper's footsteps pounded past, then faded. Sarah's heart hammered against her ribs. She looked down at the terrified child she'd found 12 hours earlier, soaking wet and hiding behind dumpsters during last night's storm, and wondered how her life had spiraled to this moment. But she knew exactly how. 3 years ago, Sarah had been a registered nurse with a mortgage, a husband, and a daughter named Lily. Then came the car accident. The drunk driver who ran a red light didn't just kill her husband David and 6-year-old Lily. He killed everything Sarah was. The medical bills from her own injuries, the funeral costs, the depression that made her miss work, the eventual layoffs at the hospital, the eviction notice. Each loss had been another step down, until she'd found herself with nothing but a backpack and the clothes on her back. "Who are you?" Lucia's voice was small, broken. "My name's Sarah. I'm going to keep you safe, sweetheart. I promise." She smoothed the girl's tangled dark hair, knotting the zip-tie marks still red on her small wrists. Sarah had cut them off last night with the pocket knife she carried for protection. "Those men, they took you from your family, didn't they?" Lucia nodded, tears streaming down her dirt-smudged cheeks. 3 days ago, they took me from school. Papa, he must be so scared. He doesn't know where I am." Sarah had figured out who the girl was when she'd heard the news report on her battery-powered radio that morning. Lucia Marchetti, daughter of Vincent Marchetti, one of the most powerful and dangerous men in the city. The kind of man whose name people whispered. The kind of man who could make problems disappear. The kind of man whose enemies would kidnap his child. "We need to get you to the police," Sarah said, peering around the corner. The coast looked clear, but her instincts screamed danger. She'd survived on the streets by trusting those instincts. "They said they'd kill Papa if I went to the police," Lucia whimpered. "Honey, those men abandoned you. I heard them last night arguing before they drove off. The FBI was closing in. They left you to save themselves." Sarah had listened from her hiding spot as the kidnappers debated what to do with their package, before ultimately deciding she was too much of a liability. They'd shoved Lucia out of their van and sped away, probably planning to flee the state. That's when Sarah had found her, cold, terrified, injured. Every maternal instinct Sarah had buried after Lily's death had roared back to life. This child needed her. "The police station is 6 blocks from here," Sarah said. "Can you make it if I carry you piggyback?" Lucia nodded, wrapping her thin arms around Sarah's neck. The weight was almost nothing, a reminder of how little the girl had probably eaten during her captivity. Sarah had given Lucia her only protein bar last night and the half sandwich she'd gotten from the soup kitchen yesterday. Watching the child eat with desperate hunger had broken something inside Sarah's chest. They moved through the back streets, Sarah using every shortcut she'd learned in 18 months of invisibility. The city looked different from the bottom. People rushed past the homeless, eyes carefully averted, pretending not to see. Sarah had become an expert at being invisible. But today she needed to be seen. Lucia needed to be seen. "Stop right there." Sarah froze. The first kidnapper, the one she'd hit with the pipe, limped toward them from behind a parked car. Blood soaked through his jeans at the knee and his face twisted with rage. He raised his gun. "You stupid bitch, you broke my kneecap. Give me the girl and I might let you live." "Run, Lucia. Run to that store and scream for help." Sarah set the girl down, stepping between her and the gun. "I said give me the—" A shopping cart slammed into the kidnapper from the side, wielded by Marcus, the elderly homeless veteran who shared Sarah's bridge. Two more of Sarah's street family emerged from the shadows, Rita with her baseball bat and young Tommy with his dog, Bear. The kidnapper's gun discharged into the air as he fell. Bear, a massive German shepherd, pinned him to the ground with his teeth bared. "Sarah takes care of us," Marcus said, his voice steel. "We take care of Sarah. Police are already coming, buddy. Hear those sirens." The wail of police cars grew louder. Sarah grabbed Lucia and ran toward the sound, toward safety, toward the end of this nightmare. The police station buzzed with controlled chaos. Officers moved with purpose while Sarah sat in a hard plastic chair, Lucia pressed against her side, refusing to let go. A female detective had brought them both water and blankets, but Sarah's hands still trembled. The adrenaline was wearing off, leaving exhaustion in its wake. "Miss Chen, you're a hero," Detective Rodriguez said, kneeling beside them. "Those men you encountered, they're part of the kidnapping ring we've been tracking. Your friends on the street made citizens' arrests on both suspects. They're not going anywhere." "I just did what anyone would do," Sarah murmured, though she knew that wasn't true. Most people had walked past her every day for 18 months without seeing her, without caring. "Lucia, honey, we've contacted your father. He's on his way," the detective continued gently. "He's going to be so happy to see you." The girl's face transformed. "Papa's coming, he's really coming. He's been searching for you day and night, sweetheart. He never stopped looking." Sarah felt a pang in her chest. She remembered that kind of love. David would have torn the world apart to find Lily. She would have done the same, but they'd never had the chance. "Will Sarah stay?" Lucia's grip tightened on Sarah's worn jacket. "I want her to stay." "I'll stay as long as you need me," Sarah promised, smoothing the girl's hair. In just 12 hours, this child had cracked open the fortress Sarah had built around her heart. It hurt. God, it hurt to feel again, but it was worth it to see Lucia safe. The station doors burst open 20 minutes later. Sarah looked up and felt the air change. Vincent Marchetti entered like a force of nature, flanked by men in expensive suits with hard eyes. He was tall, maybe 45, with silver threading through his dark hair. His face was all sharp angles and intensity, the kind of face that probably made grown men nervous. His suit probably cost more than Sarah had earned in 6 months as a nurse. But none of that mattered when his eyes found Lucia. "Lucia," his voice cracked, all that power and danger shattering into pure paternal love. He crossed the room in 3 strides, dropping to his knees as Lucia flew into his arms. "Oh God, baby, my baby girl, you're safe, you're safe." Sarah watched father and daughter cling to each other, both crying, and had to look away. It was too intimate, too raw. She started to stand, to slip away into invisibility again, but Lucia's hand shot out and grabbed her wrist. "Papa, this is Sarah. She saved me. The bad men left me in the rain and she found me and she took care of me, and this morning she fought them with a pipe when they tried to take me back in." "Slow down, Piccola, slow down." Vincent Marchetti looked up at Sarah for the first time and she felt the full weight of his attention. His eyes were dark, calculating, missing nothing. She watched him take in her worn clothes, her weathered face, the backpack at her feet that held everything she owned. Recognition flickered, understanding. "You're homeless," it wasn't a question. Sarah lifted her chin. She had nothing to be ashamed of. "Yes. And you saved my daughter anyway." "I didn't save her anyway. I saved her because she needed saving. That's what decent people do." A muscle worked in his jaw. His right-hand man, A mountain of a person with a scar through his eyebrow leaned down and whispered something in Vincent's ear. Vincent nodded slightly, never breaking eye contact with Sarah. "Detective Rodriguez tells me you fought off 2 armed kidnappers this morning," Vincent said, standing slowly. He towered over Sarah, but she didn't step back. She'd learned on the streets that showing fear was dangerous. "She says you kept my daughter warm and safe all night, fed her, protected her." "Anyone would have." "No," his voice cut like a blade. "Most people would have walked past a crying child in the rain. Most people do walk past suffering every single day. You didn't. Why?" Sarah glanced at Lucia, who watched with wide eyes. "I had a daughter once. Her name was Lily. She was 6 when she died 3 years ago. Car accident. She'd be about Lucia's age now." Her voice remained steady despite the grief that never fully faded. "I couldn't save Lily, but I could save yours." Vincent's expression shifted, something softening behind his eyes. "I'm sorry for your loss." "Me too." Sarah gently extracted her wrist from Lucia's grip. "She's safe now. That's what matters. I should go." "Wait." Vincent's hand shot out but stopped short of touching her, respectful of her space. "Please, we need to talk. There's a matter of, how do I put this, a debt." "I don't want your money, Mr. Marchetti. You don't even know what I'm offering." "I don't need to know. Your daughter is safe. That's payment enough." Lucia's face crumpled. "Sarah, don't go. Please don't go." The detective interceded. "Mr. Marchetti, we need Lucia examined by a doctor just as a precaution. The paramedics are waiting." Vincent nodded but kept his gaze locked on Sarah. "Will you come with us? To the hospital? Lucia clearly trusts you, and I think it would help her feel safe during the examination." It wasn't really a question, though he phrased it as one. Sarah could see the calculation behind it, keeping her close until he decided what to do about her. The hospital room was private, expensive, the kind of care Sarah couldn't have afforded even when she'd had insurance. Lucia sat on the examination table, holding Sarah's hand while a kind-faced pediatrician checked her over. Vincent stood by the window, arms crossed, radiating tension. His security team waited outside. "Physically, she's remarkably well considering," Dr. Patel announced. "Minor dehydration, some bruising, the marks from the restraints will fade. You did good work with the first aid, Miss Chen. Are you a nurse?" "Was," Sarah corrected quietly. "I lost my license when everything fell apart. Couldn't maintain an address for the renewal, couldn't pay the fees." Vincent's head turned sharply at that information. "Well, your training saved this young lady from infection. That ankle was properly wrapped, the abrasions were cleaned correctly. You probably prevented her injuries from becoming much worse." Dr. Patel smiled warmly. "Lucia, sweetheart, I'm going to recommend you stay overnight for observation, just to be safe. Is that okay?" Lucia's death grip on Sarah's hand tightened. "Will Sarah stay?" "I don't think the hospital," Sarah began. "She stays." Vincent's voice left no room for argument. "Whatever it costs, she stays." Sarah opened her mouth to protest, but Lucia's pleading eyes stopped her. One more night. She could give this child one more night of feeling safe. The nurses set up a cot in the corner of the room. As evening fell and Lucia finally drifted to sleep, her small hand still wrapped around Sarah's fingers, Vincent approached quietly. He'd shed his suit jacket, rolled up his sleeves. He looked exhausted. "Thank you," he said simply, "for staying. She's been through trauma. She needs stability right now, familiar faces." Sarah kept her voice low. "When she wakes up tomorrow, she'll be ready to let go." "Will she?" Vincent pulled a chair close, sitting so they were eye level. "Or will you?" "Excuse me. I had my people look into you while we were here. Don't be angry, it's what I do. I need to know who's around my daughter." He paused, choosing his words carefully. "Sarah Chen, 42, registered nurse for 15 years, exemplary record. Married to David Chen, high school math teacher. Daughter Lily, age 6. 3 years ago, drunk driver ran a red light. David and Lily died instantly. Sarah spent 2 months in the hospital. Medical bills exceeded insurance coverage. Depression, job loss, foreclosure. The slide into homelessness took 18 months. Sarah's jaw tightened. You had no right. I had every right. You saved my daughter's life. I needed to know who you are. He leaned forward, elbows on his knees. What I found was a good woman who got dealt a shit hand by fate. Someone who, despite losing everything, still had the humanity to help a scared child in the rain. What's your point, Mr. Marchetti? My point is that you deserve better than sleeping on the streets. My point is that I owe you a debt I can never fully repay. My point is that I want to help you, and I think you're too proud to let me. I don't want charity. It's not charity, it's a debt. In my world, debts matter, they mean something. Sarah studied his face in the dim light from Lucia's monitors. What world is that exactly? Because I grew up in neighborhoods controlled by men like you. I know what you are, even if the police can't prove it. Vincent didn't deny it. You're right, I'm not a good man, Sarah. I've done things that would horrify you, but I'm a father. And you gave me back the only thing in this world that matters to me. So yes, I'm going to insist on paying this debt, and yes, you're going to let me. Because it's not about you. It's about me being able to sleep at night knowing I honored what you did. Your daughter would be ashamed if she knew what you really do. You're right about that too. He ran a hand through his hair, suddenly looking older. She's 8 years old and she thinks I'm a businessman, import-export. She doesn't know about the rest. Maybe one day I'll tell her. Maybe I'll try to change. But today, right now, I'm just a father who's grateful his little girl is breathing. They sat in silence for a moment. Outside, the city lights twinkled through the window. Sarah remembered when she used to see those lights from the inside, from apartments and homes. Now she usually saw them from below, from alleys and underpasses. The answer is still no, she finally said. Whatever you're planning to offer, I can't accept it. You want to honor what I did. Then honor it by being there for her. Go to her school plays, tuck her in at night. Don't let your world touch her. Keep her innocent as long as you can. That's the only payment I want. Vincent stared at her like she'd spoken a foreign language. You're serious? Completely. Do you have any idea how much money? I don't care about your money. Sarah's voice rose slightly, and she glanced at Lucia to make sure she was still sleeping. Then what do you care about? Vincent's voice held genuine confusion. Everyone wants something. Everyone has a price. Not for this. Sarah leaned back, exhausted. 3 years ago, I would have given anything, literally anything, for 5 more minutes with my daughter. 5 minutes to hold her, to tell her I loved her, to kiss her goodnight one more time. Your daughter is alive, Mr. Marchetti. She's breathing and laughing, and she gets to grow up. Don't waste that. Don't take it for granted. That's all I want from you. Vincent was quiet for a long moment, his dark eyes searching her face. You lost everything. Yes. And somehow you're still trying to save people. What else is there? Sarah's voice cracked slightly. If I stop caring, if I stop helping when I can, then I really will have nothing left. The streets take everything from you piece by piece. Your dignity, your hope, your sense of self. The only thing they can't take is your choice to be decent, to be human. That's mine. That's all I have left, that's mine. You're wrong, you know. Vincent stood, packing to the window. You have more than that. You have skills, experience, and intelligence. You have the same heart that made you a good nurse. You have the courage to fight armed men with a pipe. You have everything except opportunity. He turned back to face her. Let me give you that, not charity, opportunity. I can't. Hear me out, please. He held up a hand. There's a clinic in the Lower East Side. It serves the homeless population, people others ignore. The doctor who ran it, Dr. Martinez, he retired last month. They're desperate for someone with medical training who understands the community. Someone who won't judge, who will actually see the patients as human beings. Sarah's breath caught. I told you I don't have a license anymore. The clinic operates under a charitable foundation. They can sponsor your license reinstatement. You need to pass the examination again, maybe take some refresher courses, but your record was spotless. There's no reason they wouldn't reinstate you." Vincent pulled a business card from his wallet, setting it on the table beside her. "The job comes with an apartment above the clinic. Nothing fancy, just a one-bedroom, but it's clean and safe and it's yours." "Why would they hire me based on your recommendation?" "Because I fund the clinic." He said it simply, without arrogance. "Anonymous donations. Has been for 5 years, since before Lucia was born. Call it guilt money if you want. Call it blood money. But it helps people who need help, and it's real." Sarah stared at the card. Dr. Rebecca Torres, Director, Mercy Street Medical Clinic. A phone number. An address she recognized, down in the neighborhood where she'd been sleeping under that bridge. "This is too much," she whispered. "It's nowhere near enough. And before you argue, think about this. You told me to be there for Lucia, to go to her school plays and tuck her in. You were right. I've been so focused on building my empire, protecting my territory, making money, that I've missed half her life already. She's 8 years old, and sometimes I realize I don't know her favorite color or what makes her laugh." His voice grew rough with emotion. "You gave me a second chance to be her father. Let me give you a second chance to do what you were meant to do. Help people, heal them." "I don't know if I can." Sarah's hands trembled. "I don't know if I remember how." "You kept my daughter alive with a pocket knife and a first aid kit you probably scrounged from donated supplies. You remember how." Vincent moved toward the door, giving her space. "Think about it. The card has all the information. Dr. Torres is expecting your call whenever you're ready. Tomorrow, next week, next month. The job will wait." "Why?" the question burst out of Sarah. "Why are you really doing this?" Vincent paused at the door, his hand on the handle. When he looked back, his face held something Sarah hadn't expected: shame. "Lucia asked me something today, after the doctor examined her while you were talking to the detective. She asked if she could see you again after she went home, if maybe you could come to her birthday party next month." He swallowed hard. "And I realized my daughter, my innocent 8-year-old, has more humanity in her little finger than I've shown in 20 years. She doesn't care that you're homeless. She just knows you're the person who kept her safe. You're her hero." "Children see clearly," Sarah said softly. "Yes, they do. And when I tried to explain why that might be complicated, why someone like you and someone like us don't exactly mix in the same circles, you know what she said?" Vincent's eyes glistened. "She said, 'Papa, Sarah is the best person I ever met. If she can't come to my party, I don't want a party.' 8 years old, and she's already a better person than her father." Sarah felt tears prick her own eyes. "She's a special little girl." "She is, and she sees something in you that I'm only beginning to understand, something I need to learn from." He opened the door. "Good night, Sarah. Thank you again for everything." He left quietly, and Sarah sat in the darkness with a sleeping child's hand in hers and a business card that represented a future she'd thought was gone forever. Outside, the city hummed with life. Somewhere out there, Marcus and Rita and Tommy were bedding down for the night, protecting each other the way they'd protected her that morning. Could she really leave them? Could she take this chance? Could she afford not to? Morning brought sunshine through the hospital window and Lucia's bright chatter as she ate breakfast. The trauma hadn't vanished. Sarah could see it in how the girl startled at sudden noises, but children were resilient. With time and love, she'd heal. Vincent arrived at 9, bringing his mother, a small, elegant woman with steel in her eyes and gentleness in her hands. Maria Marchetti took one look at her granddaughter and burst into tears, gathering Lucia into her arms and speaking rapid Italian between sobs. Vincent's face softened watching them, love transforming his hard features. "Mama, this is Sarah Chen," Vincent said in English. "She's the one who saved Lucia." Maria turned to Sarah, still holding Lucia. "Gracie, Mill Gracie, you gave me back my angel." She reached out and pulled Sarah into the embrace, encompassing both women and the child between them. "Bless you. God bless you." Sarah hugged her back, overwhelmed. It had been so long since someone had held her like she mattered, like she was worthy of gratitude and love instead of averted eyes and nervous distance. "It was nothing," Sarah mumbled. "It was everything," Maria corrected firmly. She pulled back, studying Sarah's face with a grandmother's shrewd assessment. "You look hungry, thin. Vincent, why is this woman not eating properly?" "Mama, she's been. Circumstances have been difficult." "I understand circumstances. Did you offer help?" "Of course you did, you're my son." "Did she refuse?" "Of course she did. She has pride." "Good." Maria nodded approvingly. "Pride is important, but pride doesn't fill an empty stomach." She turned back to Sarah. "You'll come to Sunday dinner this week. No arguments. You saved my granddaughter. You eat at my table. This is not negotiable." Sarah couldn't help but smile. "Mrs. Marchetti, Maria, you call me Maria, and you come to dinner. Vincent will send a car." "Mama, maybe Sarah has other plans," Vincent interjected, though his eyes held amusement. "What plans? She'll come." Maria patted Sarah's cheek with maternal affection. "You're a good girl. I can see it. You have sadness in your eyes, but goodness in your heart. We will feed you and you will tell me about yourself, and maybe you will let us help a little bit. Not because you need us, but because we need to say thank you properly." There was something about Maria Marchetti that made refusing feel impossible. Maybe it was the motherly warmth Sarah had been starving for. Maybe it was the genuine caring in her eyes. Maybe Sarah was just tired of being alone. "Okay," she heard herself say, "Sunday dinner." Maria beamed. "Perfetto, now let me spend time with my Lucia. Vincent, take Sarah and buy her a proper meal. She looks ready to fall over." "Mama, I don't think." "Did I ask what you think? Go, feed her. I want to talk to my granddaughter." Maria made shooing motions. "Go, go." Vincent met Sarah's eyes with an expression that clearly said, "When Mama speaks, you listen." Despite everything, Sarah almost laughed. They ended up at a diner 3 blocks from the hospital, a place that probably catered to doctors and nurses between shifts. Sarah felt self-conscious in her worn clothes, aware of the other diners' glances, but Vincent seemed completely unbothered. He ordered coffee and the breakfast special for both of them without asking what she wanted. "Your mother is formidable," Sarah said as they waited for their food. "You have no idea. She ruled my father with an iron fist wrapped in velvet. He was the enforcer, but she was the real power in our family." Vincent added sugar to his coffee. "When he died, she made me promise 3 things. Take care of the family business, whatever that meant. Find a good woman and give her grandchildren, and never forget where we came from." "And did you find a good woman?" "I found a beautiful woman, Sophia. We married young, had Lucia within a year, but beautiful doesn't always mean good, and I wasn't exactly husband of the year material." His jaw tightened. "Sophia died 4 years ago, cancer. By the end, she hated me, hated what I'd become, what I'd built. She made me promise that Lucia would never be part of that world, that I'd keep her innocent." "You loved her, it wasn't a question." "I loved the idea of her. I loved what she represented, normal, clean, but I couldn't be the man she needed. I was too far gone into my father's legacy." He looked up as the waitress brought their plates. "Eat, please. You don't have to talk, just eat." The food was better than anything Sarah had tasted in 18 months. Eggs, bacon, toast, hash browns, orange juice. She tried to eat slowly with dignity, but her body betrayed her hunger. Vincent didn't comment, just pushed his own bacon onto her plate when she wasn't looking. "The clinic," Sarah said finally between bites. "If I did this, if I tried, what would you expect in return?" "Nothing. Everyone wants something." "You're quoting me back to myself. That's fair." Vincent leaned back in the booth. "Okay, honestly, I expect you to show up for work. I expect you to treat the patients with respect. I expect you to call me if anyone bothers you or if you need anything. And I expect you to let Lucia visit sometimes because she's already planning to bring you cookies." Sarah set down her fork, studying Vincent's face across the diner table. The morning light softened his hard edges, made him look almost human rather than the dangerous man she knew he was. "You're asking me to become part of your life, part of Lucia's life. Do you understand how complicated that is?" "I understand completely. You're a woman who lost everything and rebuilt herself from nothing. I'm a man who runs an organization most people pretend doesn't exist. My enemies are out there watching, always watching. Being close to my family puts a target on your back." Vincent's voice dropped low. "But you already have that target, Sarah. The moment you saved Lucia, you became part of this story. Those kidnappers have associates, people who might want revenge. My enemies might see you as leverage. Walking away doesn't make you safe. It just makes you alone." The food turned heavy in Sarah's stomach. She hadn't considered that. She'd been so focused on maintaining her independence, her pride, that she'd missed the bigger picture. "So this job, this apartment, it's also protection." "It's an opportunity that comes with protection, yes. The clinic is in my territory. No one touches what's mine, and like it or not, you're mine now, under my protection. You saved my daughter, that makes you family, and I protect family." He pulled out his wallet, extracting a black credit card and sliding it across the table. "This is for emergencies. Medical care, food, clothing, whatever you need while you get your license reinstated." "I can't accept that." "You can and you will. Consider it a signing bonus." Vincent's tone left no room for argument. "Here's what's going to happen. Today I'm taking you to the clinic to meet Dr. Torres. You'll see the space, the apartment, decide if it feels right. Tomorrow we start the paperwork for your license. Next week you come to Sunday dinner at Mama's house. And next month you come to Lucia's birthday party. Not as an employee or a charity case, but as the woman who saved my daughter's life. As someone we care about, can you accept that?" Sarah's hands trembled. It was too much, too fast. Yesterday she'd been sleeping under a bridge, invisible to the world. Today a mafia boss was offering her a new life, complete with job security and protection she hadn't asked for. But when she closed her eyes, she saw Lucia's face. Terrified, cold, alone in that alley. She felt the little girl's hand in hers, the trust that Sarah wouldn't let anything bad happen. She heard Lucia's voice asking if Sarah could come to her birthday party. Some chances only came once. "Okay," Sarah whispered. "Okay, I'll try." Vincent's smile transformed his face, making him look younger, almost boyish. "Good, that's good. Finish your breakfast. We have a long day ahead." The clinic was everything Vincent had promised. Clean, well-equipped, staffed by people who genuinely cared. Dr. Rebecca Torres was a woman in her 50s with kind eyes and capable hands, and she greeted Sarah like an old friend rather than a homeless woman in donated clothes. "Vincent told me about you," Dr. Torres said, showing Sarah around. "What you did saving that little girl, but more importantly, how you've been helping the homeless community. Marcus spoke very highly of you, said you've been treating wounds, talking people through their problems, keeping folks alive with nothing but street medicine and determination. You know Marcus. He comes in once a month for his diabetes medication, always mentions you. Sarah the nurse, he calls you, still got her healing hands even if the system threw her away." Dr. Torres led her upstairs to the apartment. "The system fails people like you. Good people who hit a rough patch and can't claw their way back out because the barriers are too high. We're trying to change that, one person at a time." The apartment was small but clean, with a real bed, a tiny kitchen, a bathroom with a shower, windows that let in actual sunlight. Sarah stood in the center of the room and felt something crack inside her chest. Hope. Terrifying, fragile hope. "I don't know if I can do this," she admitted. "I don't know if I'm still that person who can heal people." "You kept a traumatized child alive and safe. You fought off armed kidnappers. You've been practicing street medicine for 18 months. Dr. Torres squeezed her shoulder. "You never stopped being a healer, Sarah. You just lost your building. Now you're getting it back." The next weeks blurred together in a whirlwind of paperwork, studying, and slow adjustment. Sarah threw herself into preparing for her licensing exam, her nursing knowledge flooding back like muscle memory. She moved into the apartment, though she kept her backpack packed by the door, unable to fully trust that this was real. Marcus, Rita, and Tommy visited, bringing donations for the clinic and spreading the word that Sarah's place was safe. The homeless community slowly began trickling in, testing whether this clinic would treat them with dignity or disdain. Sarah made sure it was always dignity. Sunday dinner at Maria's house was overwhelming. 3 generations of Marchettis gathered around a massive table, speaking Italian and English interchangeably, arguing about everything and laughing constantly. Lucia sat beside Sarah, chattering about school and her upcoming birthday party, and how she'd told all her friends about the hero who saved her. Vincent watched from the head of the table, and when his eyes met Sarah's, she saw something she hadn't expected. Gratitude, yes, but also respect. Recognition of equals, despite their vastly different circumstances. "You're doing good work at the clinic," he said later, as they stood on Maria's back porch watching Lucia play in the yard. "Dr. Torres says you're a natural leader. The other staff respect you. The patients trust you." "I'm remembering who I used to be," Sarah replied. "Or maybe becoming someone new, I'm not sure which." "Does it matter? You're helping people, making a difference, that's what counts." Vincent paused. "I've been thinking about what you said, about being there for Lucia, about not letting my world touch her. I've started making changes, delegating more, coming home for dinner, reading her bedtime stories. You were right. I was wasting the time I had with her, taking it for granted." "That's good, that's what matters." Sarah watched Lucia spin in circles, arms outstretched, laughing at the dizzy feeling. "She's healing. The nightmares are less frequent." "Almost gone. She still sleeps with the light on, but Dr. Martinez says that's normal. She talks about you constantly. You've become her hero, you know. She wants to be a nurse when she grows up, like you." Sarah's throat tightened. She should aim higher than that. "Why? You save lives. You give people dignity when the world tells them they're worthless. That's about as high as anyone can aim." Vincent turned to face her fully. "I need to tell you something about the men who took her. I thought they were in custody." "They are, but they were hired by someone, a rival family trying to get leverage over me. We found out who." His voice went cold, dangerous. "I wanted you to know before I handle it, because you're part of this now, whether you wanted to be or not. These people know who you are, what you did." Fear spiked through Sarah. "Are you saying I'm in danger?" "I'm saying you're protected, but I needed you to understand why. The apartment, the clinic, my mother inviting you to family dinners, this isn't just gratitude. It's a statement. To everyone in my world, you're under Marchetti protection, untouchable. Anyone who comes after you comes after me." "I didn't ask for that." "You didn't have to. You saved my daughter. In my world, that debt is sacred." Vincent's eyes held hers. "I know you don't approve of what I do. I know you think I'm a criminal, and you're right. But I keep my word, Sarah, always. And I promised myself that the woman who gave me back my daughter would never want for anything again. That's not charity. It's honor." Before Sarah could respond, Lucia came running up, breathless and grinning. "Sarah, Papa, come see. Nana is bringing out the tiramisu." The moment broke. Vincent's dangerous intensity faded, replaced by a father's indulgent smile. "Lead the way, Piccola." As they walked back inside, Lucia slipped her small hand into Sarah's. The gesture was so natural, so trusting, that Sarah felt her carefully constructed walls crumble a little more. This child had worked her way into Sarah's heart, and with her came an entire family of complicated, dangerous, loving people who refused to let Sarah disappear back into invisibility. Maybe that was okay. Maybe being seen again, being part of something, was worth the risk. 3 weeks later, Sarah passed her licensing exam. Dr. Torres celebrated with champagne in the clinic break room, and the staff applauded. Marcus brought flowers he'd probably bought with his disability check, making Sarah cry. Vincent sent an enormous bouquet with a simple card. "Congratulations, Dr. Chen. The world is lucky to have you back. VM." She wasn't a doctor, but the gesture made her smile anyway. Lucia's birthday party was the following weekend. Sarah almost didn't go, intimidated by the thought of Vincent's wealthy friends and their judgment. But Lucia had called 3 times to make sure Sarah was coming, and saying no to that voice was impossible. The Marchetti estate was impressive. A sprawling property that spoke of old money and new power. Sarah arrived in the modest car she'd bought with her first paycheck, feeling out of place among the luxury vehicles lining the drive. She'd bought Lucia a medical kit for kids, complete with a toy stethoscope and nurse's uniform. It seemed appropriate. "Sarah, you came, you really came." Lucia flew down the front steps, launching herself into Sarah's arms. She'd grown, or maybe Sarah had just forgotten how small 8-year-olds were. "Come meet my friends. I told them all about you." The party was surprisingly normal. Children ran and played, parents chatted and supervised, and somewhere a caterer was preparing food that probably cost more than Sarah's monthly salary. Maria swept Sarah into the festivities, introducing her to everyone as the hero who saved our Lucia, with such pride that Sarah couldn't help but feel welcomed. Vincent found her later, standing apart from the crowd, watching Lucia open presents. "You look uncomfortable." "I am uncomfortable. I don't belong here, Vincent. Look at these people, look at me." "I am looking at you. I see a woman who rebuilt her life from nothing. A woman who fights for people everyone else ignores. A woman my daughter adores and my mother has adopted as an honorary family member." He handed her a glass of wine. "You belong here because we want you here. That's all that matters. Your friends keep looking at me. Let them look. Let them see that Vincent Marchetti values courage and character over money and status. It's good for them to be reminded that not everyone can be bought." Sarah sipped her wine, considering. "You're using me as a statement." "I'm honoring you, there's a difference." Vincent's voice softened. "But if it makes you uncomfortable, I'll stop. I'll make excuses, keep you separate from this part of my life. Just say the word." Sarah looked at Lucia, surrounded by friends, laughing with pure joy. The nightmares were gone. The fear had faded. She was just a little girl celebrating her birthday, safe and loved and whole. Sarah had helped make that possible. "No," Sarah said quietly. "Don't stop. I just need time to adjust, to believe this is real." "It's real. I promise you it's real." When it came time for cake, Lucia insisted Sarah stand beside her. As everyone sang happy birthday, the little girl looked up at Sarah with such open affection that Sarah's heart ached. This wasn't her daughter, could never replace Lily, but maybe there was room in her broken heart for this bright, brave girl who'd brought her back to life. "Make a wish, sweetheart," Sarah whispered. Lucia closed her eyes, then blew out all 9 candles in one breath. Everyone applauded. Later, when Sarah asked what she'd wished for, Lucia hugged her tight and whispered, "I wished that you'd stay forever, that you'd never leave." Sarah held her close, breathing in the scent of strawberry shampoo and chocolate frosting, and whispered back, "I'm not going anywhere." It was a promise she intended to keep. 6 months passed. Sarah's clinic thrived, becoming a beacon for the homeless community. She hired Tommy as a part-time outreach worker, connecting people to services. Rita volunteered, keeping the waiting room organized and welcoming. Marcus became an unofficial greeter, his friendly face putting nervous patients at ease. The street family she'd belonged to became part of her work family, bridging both worlds. Vincent kept his promise too. He came home for dinner, attended school events, took Lucia to the park on Sundays. Sarah watched him transform from a distant, dangerous figure into an engaged father and wondered if she'd done that. If her simple request, "Name your price," had sparked that change. "You did more than save my daughter," Vincent told her one evening. They'd fallen into a routine of coffee after Sunday dinner, talking on Maria's porch while Lucia played inside. "You saved me too. from becoming someone my daughter would grow up to hate. You were already a good father. You just needed permission to prioritize it. No, I needed someone to hold up a mirror and show me what I was losing, someone who understood the value of time because she'd lost everything. Vincent studied her face in the fading light. Do you still think about them, your husband and daughter? Every day, but it doesn't hurt quite as much anymore. The grief is still there, but so is something else. Purpose, connection, hope. Sarah smiled softly. You gave me that. This job, this life, it's given me a reason to keep going. You gave yourself that. I just opened a door, you walked through it. The comfortable silence stretched between them. In the distance, Lucia's laughter rang out, bright and free. The sound of a child who felt safe. The sound of a future full of possibilities. Thank you, Sarah said finally, for everything, for seeing me when I was invisible, for refusing to let me disappear. Thank you for teaching me what really matters, for showing me that not everything has a price tag, that some debts can only be paid forward. Vincent raised his coffee cup in a toast. To second chances. Sarah clinked her cup against his. To second chances. If you've made it this far in our story, thank you for staying with us through Sarah and Vincent's journey. Their story reminds us that sometimes the greatest wealth isn't measured in money, but in the connections we make and the lives we touch. Before you go, hit that subscribe button if you believe in second chances and the power of human kindness. Drop a comment below telling us what you would have said if Vincent Marchetti opened his wallet and told you to name your price. And smash that like button if this story moved you. Your support helps us bring more stories like this to life. Until next time, remember, everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Be kind. Always.